listen up. The Mexican insurgency is on the move and it's nearing the border. Remember, your objective on the ground in Juarez is to assess the threat to U.S. soil. Do not engage. I repeat, do not engage.
Copy that. Ghost, watch the roofs.
Roger that.
We have enemy snipers in the zone.
Eyes open. Don't fire until... Holy! Return fire! I need ground cover! Go, go, go! Mitchell, finish this.
The world's most elite fighting force is reuniting.
Set the charge and blow it.
Copy that.
And this time,
Take out those tanks, now!
it's to protect their own nation. The game that defined next-generation gaming
I need air support! Air support granted.
is coming back to do it again.
Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter hit home with so many gamers in the world, not because it redefined the Ghost Recon series, not because it redefined the tactical shooter genre, but because it unintentionally defined for the first time what every next-gen shooter should really be. This is the second coming, and everything about the sequel is twice as advanced as it was in the first game.
No Nasha. No U.S. meddling in Mexican affairs. We want the U.S. out of Latin America. And if they send forces to stop us, they will have a most unpleasant surprise.
Bring it on, amigo. I like surprises.
Yes, the game is set in Mexico once again, and no, this isn't Delta Farce. There's an actual conflict brewing south of the border, and it's up to the Ghosts to stop it. Captain Scott Mitchell has barely returned to base for some R&R when, surprise surprise, his unlucky elite Hyde is called back into action once again. The first Advanced Warfighter pitted Mitchell's humble three-man recon team against a rebellious uprising of rebel military forces attempting a coup to overthrow the Mexican government, and it seems that the job might have been left half-finished, seeing as how everyone, and I do mean everyone that you didn't kill in the first game, comes out to play. The rebel forces have invaded the city of Juarez, which, as you know, is on the border with El Paso, Texas. Seeing this as a direct threat to U.S. soil, the American government launches an all-out offensive, secrecy be damned this time, with Mitchell and the Ghosts at the tip of the spear.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Did you see those weapons blow? That was freaking unbelievable.
What are you celebrating, Black Hawk 5? This ain't over yet. Proceed to Juarez so we can finish this thing off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Absolutely, sir. En route to Juarez, sir.
The voice acting is still well written, if somewhat stereotypical military banter, which works great for the feel of the game. The overall progression is played out through a series of minicam videos within your HUD, as well as a number of cinematic sequences which happen while you're waiting to get dropped off in the next battle zone. Both of which also work great, keeping you focused on the action, and you never feel like you're taking a popcorn break to watch a cutscene in between loading screens.
Bienvenidos a Mexico, Scott. I'd ask you to send me a postcard, except you're not officially here.
Then I'll bring you back an unofficial bottle of mezcal. With the worm.
A few major gameplay improvements will instantly take notice, showing that Ubisoft surprisingly managed to improve upon what felt like perfection in its first iteration. The cross-comp system, which is the beating heart of the GRAW 2 single-player campaign, now allows us to see through the eyes of anyone or anything we command. Not only can you see through the eyes of your allies, but you can also command them around the battlefield from this view. It's an awesome addition, making certain tools like the UAV Scout much more effective than they were in the first game. Your three-man team is still selected or rearranged at predetermined points throughout the levels, which also refill your health and ammunition. Only this time, you'll have a more diverse selection of squad mates to choose from, and the choices available aren't altered based on the type of mission you're undertaking, unlike the first game. Your squad has a slightly improved AI dynamic, by which they'll navigate to cover much better this time, and even if they can still seem as dumb as a bag of hammers at times, it's once again surprising that Ubisoft managed the slightest bit of improvement for even these bullet-stopping test dummies.
Soldier needs help. Go!
Captain. I got him. No worries.
You'll also be given command of the Mule, which is basically a six-wheeled unmanned armory that you can command to follow you around, use as a piece of cover, or access to switch your weapons or refill your ammo at any given time. Who doesn't wish they had one of those? Speaking of weapons, you get a much wider arsenal to choose from this time, gaining new firepower as the game progresses, even so much that you might have a hard time deciding which gun you want to carry around, like a kid in a candy store.
Taking cover!
Then there are the wickedly executed rail shooting sequences in which you rain metal death onto foes from the door of a chopper. This simplistic yet satisfying novelty is also strangely more satisfying this time around.
Ground. Far support is online. You have far support.
Given the notion of a full-scale military operation in GRAW 2, it only makes sense that support vehicles ranging from Striker IFVs, attack helicopters, tanks, and even aerial strike fighters are clearly more prominent than they were in the first game. And given the number of enemies that you face, it's a good thing. You'll often command more than one support vehicle at a time, making for some really great tactical scenarios in which you literally send in the cavalry, then just sit back and watch the fireworks. In terms of sheer length, GRAW 2's story mode isn't quite as long as the first game, but it's one of those rare action games that has a single-player mode with an equal amount of quality as the multiplayer modes, which is surprising since the multiplayer modes are amazingly addictive. Once again, everything about GRAW 2's multiplayer modes is way better than the first game, and while credit should be given to the first GRAW for introducing us to the concept, it's more like GRAW laid out a rock-solid foundation on which GRAW 2 would build its masterpiece. There are now 6 different cooperative missions to tackle, over 62 different weapons, more than our fair share of diverse maps, every conceivable competitive mode you could think to customize, with a ton of downloadable content on top of that, and all with up to 16 players. You have so many options to explore in the competitive side of things that the best suggestion would be to just buy the game and find out for yourself. It's fun, it's intense, it's addicting, and if you enjoyed the first game, you'll absolutely love this one. I remember hearing one reviewer refer to Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter as an acquired taste, and I honestly couldn't think of a better way to define it. In spite of the game's stellar design, intense action, and addicting gameplay, it still isn't for everyone, and some gamers less interested in tactical shooters might still be daunted by the busy HUD and feature-filled GRAW 2. The simple fact is, even if you don't like this game, GRAW 2 is a great game, with a lot of recycled gameplay that came out way better on the other side, only adding more positive features to the already genius doses of action and realism. Everything that everyone loved about the first game is still here. Simply, the first GRAW created it, but GRAW 2 has perfected it.
It's up to you, Mitchell. Now take him out!
Okay, Scott, let's give these guys a little surprise.
What is your name, Captain?
I have no name, Colonel. I'm a ghost. And I was never here.